feel free to click the Ask a Question button up in your audio menu, or you can chat your question into our moderated chat panel. That chat panel is found at the bottom of your webinar panel on the left-hand side. Please chat in the chat panel just to be sure that you can hear me okay, to make sure that my audio is working and your speakers are working. Okay, great. We have confirmation that the audio is working. So what we're here to do today is to answer any questions that you might have about Planbook Plus. Either you're maybe considering to purchase it, you're on a trial, maybe you haven't even signed up for a trial yet. We're here to answer any of the questions that you might have. So you should be looking at my screen right now. I'm on Planbook Plus, and I am on our calendar planning tool. So I'm going to open the floor up to you guys, and if you have any questions, again, please feel free to chat those in the chat box or ask a question. I think I saw a hand raised and I was about to grant permission, but it looks like that went away. So if you did have a question, again, you could chat that into the chat box, or you can raise your hand in the Ask a Question button. Okay, so our first question is about the different levels of our subscriptions. So we have our planner, our advanced planner, and our master planner. We're going to give voice controls over so you can ask the specific question that you might have. I'm not sure if your microphone is working or not because I'm not able to hear you, but I'll give it another try. I don't know if they can hear me. Okay, I'm not sure if your microphone is working. I wasn't able to hear you, but we did get your question also into our chat box. Okay, the speaker, so he can't hear us. We're just having somebody with technical difficulties. If you could just hold on for one moment while we try to get them situated. Okay, while we're working with that attendee, I'm going to go over our levels again of our subscriptions. That was the first question that we had. So we have our planner, our advanced planner, and our master planner subscription. So I'm going to go up here to our gear icon, and I'm going to choose my account. That's going to take us to our Planbook Plus site. This is where you can change your password. You can even update your subscription level here. I'm going to go to our pricing page. On our pricing page is going to differentiate different plans, and I'll talk about the plans and the pricing for the plans. Right now we're running a special because of our master planner launch. So up through July 5th, we're actually offering Master Planner at the same price as the Advanced Planner. So both of those are going to be $25 a year. So you will get that Master Planner for the price of Advanced Planner, and that is for a limited time right now. So our planner is $10, our Advanced Planner is $25, and our Master Planner, which is usually $35, is currently discounted for our launch at $25 a year. So again, these are yearly pricing. And then this is what's going to let you know all of the different features that we have and at which level. So you can see you have your basics of your standards, your reports, your weekly views, and your scheduling in all of the different plans. It starts to differentiate when you get down to our resources. So your resources is limited to 200 megabytes for the planner and unlimited for the other levels. And then the sharing is included in all of the plans, but it will differ a little bit as you get up to the Master Planner, where they're going to have access to login and access to online lessons. So again, this is found on either your gear icon with your My Account and then our pricing page, or you can visit planbookplus.com and click on the pricing page there as well. So again, the major differentiators between the planner and the advanced planner is the gradebook access that you have in the advanced planner, and that's going to give you access to take your lesson plans that you currently have and add those to the gradebook and be able to monitor your students' grades. The big differentiator between the advanced planner and the master planner is going to be those online lessons that are going to be able to integrate with your plans, and your students can take those online and be auto-graded. So the next question is about what students can access. So students will be able to access anything that you share with them. Sorry about that. I just want to get back to our planner. So I'm going to click Return to Planner. So all of your lesson plan elements that you have set and any of your resources that you have added to your plan books all have a student sharing option. So you can choose to share your lesson plan elements immediately with your students and have it ready for them at any point in time. You can choose to manually release those to the students, so this checkbox can just be checked off and you're releasing that to the students for them to view. And then there's also the share on date aspect. So if you have online lessons that you don't want the students to complete until that day, you can actually share it with those students on that day. So on the student calendar, they will see anything that has a check mark on your calendar that will be visible to their calendar as well. So that would be, you are choosing what to release to the students, and then they can log in and see that. And if there's any links or resources, they can download files, they can access online lessons, all through their own calendar. Okay, we had a great question about the Google Classroom lessons linking. The way that the Google works is that they do provide links to other vendors to be able to use some of their facilities. Right now, we're looking into Google integration for logins, and we're also looking into Google Drive integration. We are investigating the Google Classroom API to see if we can link lessons to that. That is in our current development process of investigating and researching what Google Classroom allows us to link to. So I'm not sure the answer to that question at the moment, but I will try and find out more information for you. But we will be able to integrate your Google Drive and Google logins as a universal login for your Planbook, so you can pull your documents right from your Google Drive into your Planbook Plus account. Hopefully that answers your question. So while we're waiting for additional questions, I'm going to talk about our calendar, talk about our different types of planning that we have. And as questions arise, please feel free. I'm going to stop as soon as I see a question come in, and we'll answer that question for you. The whole goal of this session is to be able to answer your questions. Make sure you're comfortable with using the site. Make sure that you know how to do everything you need to do to make planning better for you. So again, what we have here is our calendar. Our calendar is going to show your different plan books. So you can choose your main plan book that you're viewing, but you can also load other plan books on here as well. And that's going to be great for you to be able to see your day as it's progressing and see everything that you're doing for that day. The other thing that you're able to do is to be able to customize what custom elements you're viewing. So maybe on a quick glance every single day, you want to see your goals, your homework, your materials, your objectives, maybe your assessment. So you can set that as your default, and now every time you come to this page, that's what's going to be displaying here. But at any point in time, you can choose to show all of your elements right there on your calendar. So the other thing I'm going to share with you is our to-do calendar, to-do plan book. So we had a great question come in from a user who wanted to have a section where they can keep track of things that are happening each day or things that they need to do the next day when they come in. Instead of writing a Post-it note on their desk and then it falling off, they can create a plan book called Daily Notes. So Daily Notes, in that plan book, there's only one element in that plan book, and it's just called Notes. So they can log if a student has early dismissal, if it's somebody's birthday, if there's a staff meeting, important forms that are due from parents to collect, and they can keep track of all of these items day over day and be able to just have that right there on their calendar for them. And then when they're done with that, if they don't want to view that calendar anymore or that plan book, they can go back to one of their other plan books and remove that so they won't see it for that particular day. And now their day has begun, their first class is Science Period 1. Here's my lesson for today. So I have my objectives, my big ideas, my materials, and all of the other resources for that lesson. If you have a day that you're planning and you plan week by week, or maybe you're a little behind in your planning, as you go through your weeks in your calendar and you come across a day that doesn't have a lesson, you can quickly add a lesson to that right here in your calendar. And then you can do a quick add, which will just add a placeholder, or you could actually get into your details from there as well. You'll notice we also have specials on here. You have the ability in Plan Plus to add specials to your calendars, so that'll block off that time that your students are in gym, or maybe it's lunchtime, or maybe there's an assembly that day and you want to mark it in there. Anything that you think of that you want to schedule in your calendar, you can. So there's two other ways to plan, and all of our planning tools are integrated. So your timeline is going to be your scope and sequence. This is where you're going to map out all of your lessons in an outline form and then worry about the details later. So you can see here I'm still in my Science Period 1 plan book, and I have quarter 1, here's my first topic, and then here's my lessons that come across that. So as you're planning for the summer, you can get all of those lessons in there as an outline with nothing inside of them. Just get that outline created and then fill in your details later by clicking on that details link. And then we also have our weekly planner. And the weekly planner is where you're going to quickly edit your lesson plans for the week. And it's very similar to the calendar page, where you can filter your elements and choose which elements you're filling in right now. So if you just want to scope out your homework for the next week, you can only show homework and quickly fill in each of those each day. And this is going to be great because it will save as you are typing. I think we did have a question. If you could just hold on 1 minute. So our question was, do teachers have to share entire plan books, or can they just share parts like the timeline? So all of these are integrated. So every plan book has a calendar, timeline, and weekly planner built in. And we do that because we want to customize your planning experience and help you to plan the way you prefer to plan. So that they're all interconnected. So as you share a plan book with another teacher, they can view your timeline, or they can view as the weekly planner, or they can view the calendar. I do have a shared plan book in here for my 2015-16 school year. So as you can see with the shared plan books, they will come up with the word shared in parentheses in your list of plan books. So here is my shared plan book. This one doesn't happen to have anything in it, but it is view only, a shared plan book. So it is owned by you, and you're only giving them permission to view it. But they can copy it if they'd like to. So to copy a plan book, you could go to your timeline, and you can do this two different ways. You can copy an entire plan book, or you can copy parts of a plan book. So let's say I wanted to share my lesson planning with my team teachers. You can come in here and you can each create your own units or sets of units, and then you can decide to share those with everyone. So now I'm in a shared plan book. The only thing I can do is view. I don't have any capabilities of dragging and dropping or anything. But I can select my unit and copy that. So when I select my unit and I click copy item, it's going to take me through a few steps in a wizard process. And basically I can say, do I want to copy just the whole unit, or do I want to copy a subset of lessons within that unit and choose what I want to copy? I can then choose what plan book I want to copy it to. So I'm going to copy it to my grade 5 math plan book. When I open my grade 5 math plan book, it's going to give me right now what we have mapped out. So it's going to ask me, okay, now you've selected your lessons, you've chosen your plan book, where do you want to put that? Do you want to put it at the top? Do you want to put it after Unit 1? Or do you want to put it after Unit 2? So that's what this below is right here in Unit 2. So I'm going to put my Unit 1 below Unit 2. And then I'm going to click Next. It'll give you a preview, and it'll show you exactly where it's put that. So if it put it in the wrong spot, you can go back to previous and move it to somewhere else. The other great thing about the Planbook copy from shared Planbooks is that somebody might have the same elements as you but named a little differently. So what we try to do is to find a match. Right now we pretty much have an identical match for goal and objective. So it'll take reading period 5 and map those objectives to the objectives here in your grade 5 math plan book. So everything will sync together with your elements that you've created. And if it doesn't have one, it'll append it and create that element to your plan book. And then all you have to do is click Finish, and everything has been copied into your plan book. So you can share any part of the book, but they have to copy it to theirs to make any edits or changes. Hopefully that answered your question. And I will jump back. I think we were in our weekly planner we were talking about. So I'm going to jump back over to our weekly planner, and I'll change our plan book so we're not in a shared plan book, that we are back in our science period 1. So from the weekly planner, like I said, you're going to be planning your main lesson elements. And then also you can attach your standards using this link here, which will take you to the details. You could choose your state, or you can actually click on the lesson name to those details as well. I'm going to go into the details now so you can see what it is that you can capture inside of each of your lesson plans. So we have your elements, you have objectives, big ideas, essential questions. This was custom set up for this plan book and can be edited on the custom element design button here. Then you have your standards. This is where you're going to attach your standards, and you're going to choose your state, and then you're going to choose your subject, and you choose your grade, and then you come up with your list of standards. You can drill down as far down as you need to attach those standards and click Finish. You can also type in a description at the bottom of the standards if there's anything that you want to include in that as well. And the main section in here is your resources, and this is where you're going to take all of your documents, your website links, your online lessons if you're a master planner, and this is where you're going to attach those to your plan books and choose your student sharing. So in the Add Resources button, you can choose to include a website link for your students, a file, an online lesson, or a note or a text resource for them. And then you will choose, I'll go to online lessons so you can see that one. I think with my screen sharing, that took just a minute more to load than it normally does. But when you get into your lesson search, you can choose by grade level. So I'm going to choose 4th grade, and I'm going to choose math, but you don't have to drill down. It'll automatically start sorting this list. So now you see grade 4 math. Here's all of your topics that are covered and content, and then here's your lessons. So if you want to preview a lesson, you can click on the link to preview it. And then I'm going to add this lesson by checking that box and clicking Add. I forgot to show you the sharing. So you can see up here that there's also sharing there. I chose shared manually, which was the default. So you can edit that at any point in time by clicking the pencil icon and choosing that sharing. So your options for sharing are not shared, share immediately, share manually, or share on date. Immediately will have it available for the students as soon as you save it. Manually will be that checkbox you saw earlier that you can check off when to release it. Share on date is going to share on your Planbook date. So if you have this lesson set for tomorrow, that would be available for the students tomorrow. And then I'll show you the preview from in here. You can also click on the lesson to preview. And you'll see that it gives them an objective. It gives them a chance to say what they know about this topic ahead of time. And then it gives them a visual model. So the visual model is going to walk them through step by step how to multiply two-digit numbers. So follow these steps. Here's an example, 5 times 25. Step 1, do this. 2, do this. So it really goes through each of those steps for them. And then we give them another example, and we give them an example in a word problem, and then as the numeric version. Then you have your guided practice section. Your guided practice section is going to be your questions that they can check their answers ahead of time. So they can click check your answer. And it'll tell them that it's incorrect. It'll work through that problem with them and tell them what that correct answer is. We have a lot of visual models also, especially for the younger grades, that will have some video feedback when they check their answer to show a problem being worked out so they could see where they made their mistake. Independent practice is going to be the same type of questions, multiple choice, and then if there is any, this one doesn't happen to have any, but if there is any, extended response would follow after independent practice. Does anyone have any questions about our master planner, our online lessons, or any aspect of the system? That's what we're here to do. We're here to help you understand how to use the system, help you see if this product is going to be beneficial for you in your lesson planning. So we'll see if there's any questions. If not, I can show a few more things. If anybody has anything that they haven't seen that they'd like to see, I could definitely show that. I want to make this the most beneficial for you. So let me know what it is you want to learn, and that's what we'll show you. So the next question is about it being user-friendly. I think it's pretty user-friendly. I think there's always a learning curve with any product. We do provide excellent customer support. We have an online chat here during business hours that can be used. We also have our support portal that you can see here at the top. Oops, I didn't actually mean to click that. You can access our help desk, which will access all of our documents that will help you get started, categorized by topic. So there's Gradebook, adding lessons, specials, and all of these are video tutorials as well as user guides to help you work through all of your aspects of the system. We also provide webinars each month. We provide a few webinars. There's usually a lesson planning basics webinar once or twice a month. We're going to be adding into our rotation a master planner webinar that will go through all of the details of all of the new features of master planner. We also have mini webinars that we're going to be posting to our website as pre-recorded webinars for you. So if you need to know how to do student sharing or teacher sharing or more information on the timeline than we covered in the basic planning, they'll be available for you as well. I think we had another question. I'm just going to read it off of there. We have some teachers that are not very tech savvy. What will their experience be like? I think, like I said, I think it's a pretty user-friendly product. I think we make it user-friendly by providing different types of planning. Because everybody does plan differently, I would say the tech-savvy teachers are probably not going to use the timeline. I'll be honest with you. It's definitely a little bit more linear. There's a lot more intricacies in there with reorganizing and everything else. I can see a non-tech teacher being able to do weekly planner with no problem. So on your weekly planner, right now we have lessons planned. But if you come in here, I'm going to jump ahead a few weeks, guys. If you just give me 1 minute, I'm going to jump to October. So now let's say it's the summer or maybe even next school year and it's September and you're going to plan a couple weeks in advance. So when you come into the weekly planner, if you have nothing, then all you have to do is click add a lesson, provide a name, and then choose whether you want this lesson on the gradebook if you have Advanced Planner, but you don't even have to worry about that right now. And you click add. It's as simple as that. You've added your lesson plan. Now here's all of your elements. Now, like I said, this is something you'll set up probably ahead of time. One of the first things you should do is go through our wizard. Our wizard is going to help any teacher, whether they're tech savvy or not, get started with their plan books. So to set up a plan book, you can go to the new plan book wizard. It'll help you set up your elements. It'll help you set up your scheduling. It'll help you set everything up so you're ready to go when you come, excuse me, when you come in here to your weekly planner. And really all it is typing in, this is my goal, period. Click the next text box. It already saved for you. Here are my big ideas. Click, it's already saved for you. So really the least technical person can definitely figure this out. They will want to take advantage of attaching standards down here and going through that standards picker. I don't think it's that difficult. And then again, with the resources, you'll also, if they want to do the resources aspect of it, that'll be done inside as well. I think that with webinar help, with our support team help, I don't think anybody would have a problem utilizing this software. We also do provide, like I had said, our webinars, but we do provide to districts for district solutions. We have a lot of districts who have signed on with us for their entire district or subset buildings within their district, and we do provide training for them as well. So it would be a WebEx training or a webinar type training just like this that the teachers can attend and go through with our trainers, with myself and Tabitha, who is here with me, and she's one of our trainers as well. So we would go through the basic planning process with everyone and then get into some more of the details as people wanted to hear about it. As we're waiting for any more questions, please again feel free to either raise your hand to ask a question in your audio box or chat that into the chat panel. And I'll just show you a few more features as we're waiting for other questions to come in. So we were talking about the master planner and what the differences are. One of those differences is the gradebook. So I'm going to click on Gradebook. And Gradebook will be set up as you create your classes and your rosters. So you'll need to have classes set up and students within those classes for them to be able to take assignments and provide grades. So I'm going to choose my plan book and I'm going to choose my class that I have. So what you're going to see here are our blue lessons are going to be ones that were added to the gradebook. So these are lesson plan lessons, not online lessons. And that's where there's a differentiator between the gradebook for advanced planner and the gradebook for master planner. The advanced planner gradebook will essentially all be blue. As a student completes something for you and hands it in to you, you can put in a grade and fill that in and track all of their grades on all of their assignments. If it's an online lesson, that's where your color coding is going to come in handy up here. So we have gray is in progress. That student has started that lesson. Pink is going to be submitted. So this must have extended response that it wants you to look at. Green has been graded and yellow has been reassigned. So all of your lessons are going to be consecutively in your gradebook, just like a traditional gradebook, and you'll be able to see those lessons. If they're auto-graded lessons, they're going to automatically turn green as soon as the student submits that lesson. If it does have an extended response component, it'll show up as pink, and you'll only be required to look at that extended response and provide a grade or a partial credit for the points of the extended response. And then once you calculate that grade, it'll automatically factor in the multiple choice question. So there's nothing that you have to worry about as far as points or grading. The system will grade it for you. It's going to ask you to provide a point value out of so much for your lesson. We did just get a question about exporting to Excel. Right now, there is no export to Excel, but we are going to be releasing that in the future, hopefully by our August release, I believe. So there'll be a way to export the gradebook to Excel. So to actually grade one of these lessons, I'll click on one of the pink lessons. So you're going to just click on that lesson. It's going to pull up the grading page for this lesson. So you can scroll down. Again, like I said, the only thing you need to look at is the extended response. It'll give you a suggested answer that's a sample 3-point response. And then it'll ask you to provide whether the answer was incorrect, correct, or the student got partial credit. So I'm going to say they got partial credit of 2 points and partial credit. I'll just mark this one correct. So now I can just save that grade and it'll automatically calculate to a grade of 90. You can provide feedback for the student here. And also save that. And it'll track all of the feedback you have sent to each student. It'll put it up here and tell you what it is that you said and when you said it. You can also jump on this lesson because this lesson was assigned to all of your class. So you can actually jump and see other students that have this lesson. Right now, there's one that's reassigned and one that's graded. But if you had more that were submitted, you could click on all of the submitted and start grading those as needed. So it'll tell you what the status of that lesson is. You can override a grade if for some reason you didn't like a question, you wanted to give them not count that grade or give them points for that grade, you can do that as well. You simply just input a calculation. So that's pretty much our grading. I'm going to return to the gradebook. I'm just going to jump back into another lesson because I forgot to show you how to reassign a lesson. So let me just get over to another. So as you're calculating this grade, if you decide that you want the student to redo that lesson, you can click this reassign button here at the top. That'll send it right back to the student, and it'll open it up for them to input their answers into again. And then it would show up here as a status as reassigned. Is there any other questions about Gradebook, about Planbook Plus, about pricing, or any of our subscription plans? We were talking about sharing lessons and grading lessons for students. I'm going to show you about how to get your students to access the lessons. So there's different ways for the students to access based on your subscription level. So if you're a planner or an advanced planner, what you're going to do is use the student sharing under your My Planbooks page. You provide a name, and you select the plan books that you want to share. In fact, I'm actually going to change this to the 16-17 school year and choose the plan book I was just looking at and click the plus sign. So what that's going to do is provide a link that you can give to your students or to parents to have an open communication of what's going on in your classroom. And anything that you have shared on your calendar is going here in the student. So you don't have to worry if they forgot their planner at home. It's at school. It's going to be online on this link for them to be able to view. The next way for sharing is going to be on your master planner subscriptions, where the students can actually log in and be able to take lessons. So what I'm going to do is show you how to access their unique link. That'll be a little different than the link on the basic student sharing. So I went into my plan book, I chose plan book settings, and I chose classes. This is where you're going to get a unique link with your teacher code attached to it. And I'm going to open up a new browser so I don't confuse my browser with being logged in twice. And I'm going to paste this link in. This link is going to pre-populate right to the student login page with your teacher code. And I'm going to log in as my student. And you'll be able to see what the calendar looks like for the students. And you'll be able to see what it would also look like in the basic, because the calendar will look the same depending on what you have. So I just need to jump ahead to September. That's where we have lesson for this. Thought it was September. Am I in the wrong year? Do I need to go back? I apologize for that, guys. Just give me 1 second. Do I want period 4? Yes. Sorry, I was in the wrong plan book. So I wanted to choose my science period 4 class, and here's our lessons that we have shared with them. So we have the objectives, the materials, the procedure, all that you have as immediately shared with your students. There's also online lessons that they can access, the website links, and files. So any lesson can be clicked on as a student. You can come in here and see what your homework is supposed to be for that day. And maybe you want to have an online lesson be your homework and don't worry about bringing paper back and forth. The online lessons are great for homework because they include those components that will help the students work through their problems. So if they needed help from their lesson, they wouldn't have to wait until tomorrow when they're in the classroom to ask you the questions. So you can see here, this learning component actually has a presentation and some notes. It's just loading. There we go. So the different rules, they can click on a rule and learn about each rule before they answer all of their questions. So trying to make it as interactive as possible for the students. And as the students progress and answer questions, this icon here will go away and it'll let them know which questions they've answered. So if they decide to skip a question, it gives them a visual reminder of which question to go back to. And again, there's guided practice, independent practice, test-ready questions, extended response if there is any, and then a vocabulary and learning component again as well. So as you progress through the lesson, you can click on the lesson content, or you can click on the next previous buttons, and when you're done, you can submit that assignment. It'll take you back as a student to your assignment search page, where you can see other lessons that are assigned to you, or you can jump back to your calendar from here. So we had a question about can students access lessons on an iPad? Yes, they can. There's always limitations with Apple and Flash. Any video or interactive that we have, we do usually provide a link to something that will work on a mobile device if it does not work right away. So if they get in there and it says view this video and there's no video, there'll be a link there to view the video if it doesn't work. And that link will link them out to a hosting site for the videos, which generally does work on mobile devices. I've jumped back to my calendar. Sorry, I need to jump back to September so we can go back to our calendar as a student. So again, all of these items are being shared with the students either immediately or on date or manually by you. So those are your options. When you set up your elements, you choose sharing. When you set up your resources to give them, you're choosing the sharing. So I know we did talk about teacher sharing. I'm going to close that. I'll minimize this in case we get any questions. That way it is there. But we do have back here, this is where you're going to do your teacher sharing. So for each of your plan books, there's a teacher sharing in your settings. And this is where you could choose who you're going to share this with. So you can share it with a user by typing in their email address and checking that they're a user, that you've got their email address correct, and then you can click share. So we had a great question come in. I'm just going to read it off. So for elementary teachers, would they have a different plan book for each subject? How would that work? I think it would be best to have a plan book for each of your subjects. And then on top of that, if you're master planner, I would have a class for each of those plan books for each of those subjects. Because as a student, if you're going in and looking at your assignments, you're going to look at your assignments by class. Sorry, it's still loading. But you're going to be able to view your assignments by class. If you have them all in one class called Grade 4, you're going to see in here English, Math, Social Studies, Science, whatever you have assigned to them. So it makes it easier for the students with online lessons to have a class for each subject and a plan book for each subject. I think for the secondary teachers, it would be hit or miss depending on what you would prefer. If you generally have them all together and you keep them pretty paced similarly, then you could have one plan book with multiple classes. But you could also, because you might have a class that moves a little faster, you might have a class that moves a little slower, you want to keep that pacing for your calendar so you know what you're doing each day. You could create one master plan book that has your plans in it and then copy that plan book for yourself per class period. Okay, so we had another question saying, would that be handled in the setup wizard? Yes, as you go through the wizard, and I can go through the wizard for you, I can really show you how simple it is, because I think when you're talking about user-friendly and you're talking about non-tech teachers, this is going to help them get everything set and ready to go. This is also the same wizard that you're going to do if you're rolling over from 2015-16 to 2016-17. So I'm going to choose, I'm just going to leave it as September 1st, but you're going to choose what your first day of school is. So you're going to choose what that is, and you're going to choose the school year for your plan book. So as I change this to September of 2016, you'll notice that my choices here now are 15-16 or 16-17. It goes based on the year that you're choosing to have that in there. So now I'll choose 16-17, and then it asks you, are you elementary, secondary, or do you teach AM, PM sections like kindergarten? So I'll choose elementary. Now, this is going to look a little overwhelming. This is our testing site and our demo site, so we have a lot of stuff in here. But this is what I was talking about rolling over. So these are all my plan books from 15-16 that I can choose to roll over. If you have no plan books from the previous school years, nothing will show up here. So all you're going to do is come down here and you're going to say grade 4 math. And you could choose your times here as well. Do you teach this from 9 to 10, or maybe you teach it from 9:15 to 10 o'clock? And then you can choose your scheduling. So if you want to change your schedule, right now it's set to every day. So every single day, 9:15 to 10 o'clock, you're teaching. You have a few different options for scheduling. Do you teach A days, B days? Do you teach only on certain days of the week that class? Or do you have a rotation? So how many days are in your schedule? You might have a 6-day rotation and you teach this class on 2, 4, and 6. So again, this is going to be more so for the secondary teachers, maybe some in the elementary. It all depends on the scheduling that your district chooses. But your day is going to be Monday through Friday. So you can set up as many courses and plan books here as you need to and set those times and set that scheduling. Then you're going to click Next. Here's where you're going to set up your custom elements. We give you a few options to choose from that you can check off, but you could also add your own called homework. Pardon me. We also have had teachers who like to write a reflection after their lesson, so they choose to create an element and choose not to share that element with the students. So now it's going to say, what holidays do you recognize? Most of these are holidays that are pretty much in all schools, but you can check off ones that maybe don't apply to you, and then you can say, let's get started. So it's as simple as that. It's created your elements, it's created your scheduling, it's created all of the plan books that you've typed into that box, and now we're here in grade 4 math. It's going to take you right to your calendar to start lessons. So now you click your add lesson, you name it, and you either choose to quick add, which is going to take you back to calendar, or you can just choose to add. Once you click add, it's going to take you to the details. You could start filling in your elements, filling in your standards, filling in your resources, and finishing that lesson. New users, the first time they log in, will also have access to a guided tour. So as they hit their calendar for the first time, it's to highlight that new lesson button. It'll say, here's the plan book that you're currently editing. Here's how you're going to navigate to different pages. Here's how you're going to add a new lesson. So it's going to guide them through that calendar, timeline, weekly planner, and even your lesson item. It does only take a few minutes, and we do encourage all new users to go through that tutorial because it is very helpful in learning the different aspects of the system. Is there any other questions? We have a few more minutes to stick around if you have anything. I'll put up our support page where you can see all of our support information. So you can see that our email address is support@planbookplus.com. You can contact our support representatives for that. Our support portal is there, which I showed you earlier. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You're welcome. I'm so glad that you found it informational. We really just wanted to be able to be here to answer any questions, to help either make decisions on purchasing or just to help you have a successful experience with Planbook Plus. I want to thank everybody for attending. Again, we'll be here for a few more minutes if you have any last-minute questions. But thank you for your time. I'm glad you were able to find this information useful to you, and I hope it helps you with your future planning endeavor.